Maybe. Yep.
Through
We're live.
windstorm?
Yeah, there we go. We are live. All right, guys. Appreciate everybody tuning in. It's Stone Guy 223. Gonna do some quick introductions from my left. We've got the Yankee Marshall.
He stepped away.
He stepped away. All right. Next to him, we got our special guest this evening. Yankee is not our special guest. Yeah, Yankee Marshall's here. Special guest tonight, Dustin Ellermann, Season 3 Top Shot winner. Man, I appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule to chat with us tonight.
My pleasure.
Next to him, we've got Gun Websites.
Hey, thanks for the invite.
Yeah. Then we've got the Tack Daddy.
I've just been informed that the Redskins players were watching our show live on the iPads on the sidelines, and that's why the performance was so low. So now that the show is over, they will continue to reign supreme and end up winning this game. So thank you. So thanks for having me
on. Sully.
Good evening, guys.
And next to Sully, we've got, sorry, what was the channel name again? Advanced Armor? Guns and Such.
Oh, yeah. Casey, Guns and Such. Thanks for the invite.
Casey, all right. Casey from Guns and Such. So you just started a new channel here recently?
Yeah, a couple months back.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
75 whopping subscribers.
Well, everybody go check out Casey at Guns and Such.
Yeah, everybody go sub Casey and another quality Floridian.
And then we've got our long-lost friend, Tactical Noob 42.
Hey, everybody.
I know, right? It's been a while, brother. Good to see you. Glad you're still alive.
Appreciate it.
So anyway, now that we've got the formality out of the way, for those of you that hopefully you caught the Tack Daddy show, if not, we had Dustin on there on the Tack Daddy show tonight, and we've got a lot of the preliminary questions out of the way, but hopefully I'll be following the chat. You guys have any other more in-depth questions you want to ask them, or anything else that we want to talk about? Now that we've got some of the, I think one of the neatest guys in the gun world today at our disposal. Let's take advantage of it and pick his brain a little bit.
Who's that? I'm excited now.
But so Dustin, earlier you alluded to the fact that Taryn Butler tricked out your Glock 34. I also shoot a Glock 34. I shoot for IPSC, USPSA.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of competition do you shoot?
It was mainly for 3-gun, and so I dabble in that when I can. But honestly, I've just enjoyed running these marksman camps more, and so I've kind of left the whole 3-gun and traveling thing out, and just hit the local or more local matches when I can. And so and I do a little bit of IDPA when it's convenient.
Nice. Yeah. We just recently, I'm in the Atlanta area, and 3-Gun Nation just recently sanctioned matches in our area through Noveski, and so we now have 3-Gun at South River in Atlanta. So Noveski sponsors those matches, and I've been a pretty die-hard IPSC shooter for about 3 or 4 years, and just started transitioning into 3-Gun, and man, 3-Gun's a blast. It's a whole different world.
Oh, it's fun, all right.
What do you what kind of shotgun and rifle do you run?
Shotgun is also Taryn Butler. He souped up M2 Benelli. I tell you, when I first got my stock Benelli, I was so disappointed. Those things stink out of the box. I was like, I paid $1,000 for this hunk of junk. But anyway, with a little tweaking, it goes a long way. And then I was using my LaRue Predator for 3-gun matches with a Miopta 1x4 and just a Geisley trigger and nothing else fancy on it. But then I also won a Adams Arms rifle at the last match, and so I'll phase that in a little bit, especially when I want suppressor action, just because I like the whole suppressor switch, because the gas out's no fun.
Nice, nice. Yeah, have you ever had a chance to mess around with a Remington Versamax?
No, they were shooting them in the final. Well, did I shoot? I don't know. It may have been a stage gun or something for at Fallen Brethren last year. I played around with it a little, and the guys were doing it for a stage match, but nothing else.
Those are slick. Now the feed gate will tear up your thumb, but other than that, it's a fantastic gun. A lot of guys are pinning the feed ramp in place because it's horrible on your thumb. But so sweet. So real quick question from the chat. Robbie wanted to know any advice on how to approach people who are on the fence about firearms. I guess.
Are we talking about shooting or just?
He didn't clarify. Yeah, he didn't specify, but I would imagine maybe just guns are bad, or in general, I guess, given you're somewhat of a, I guess you could say famous. I mean, you're one of the more famous shooters out there, and people.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't hang out around people that aren't cool like that. But you can't be an in-your-face type thing, because that's not going to work too well. I guess it'd just be a gradual. I mean, I'd use stuff like my marksman camp, and because you're fighting a whole brainwashing. Gosh, that's all I was thinking about with the whole Eric Holder debacle today, is that old video from him in the '90s talking about how we need to brainwash people about guns. If you haven't seen that, you need to. And so just we're fighting that, so you just got to do it gradually and show people that, hey, guns can be fun and used for sportsmanship, and heck, stuff like Three Gun Nation, and of course make them watch Top Shot. There you go.
There you have it. I mean, after your experience on Top Shot, did you gain a lot more? Like, obviously, in your community, I would imagine more notoriety. I mean, did you find that people were coming to you for advice on different things?
Oh yeah, I mean, I get hit up for stuff all the time. Stuff I won't even know what they're talking about. Like, man, I mean, that's not my area. But you talk about local stuff. I was at the forestry festival with the family last week. I had to take a few pictures with kids. Still going out to eat. I have to sign autographs and stuff. It's I say have to. It's not a big deal, but it makes me chuckle, because I'm like, guys, this was 3 years ago. The show's not even on anymore. It's no big deal, but it's fun. Just I guess being a make-believe celebrity. I don't know.
So even 3 years later, you're still getting recognized and as much attention as right when the show finished.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just, have we met before? I'm like, nah, don't think so. But I've even folks are still booking me for stuff. I went around speaking a lot after Top Shot and found a real niche in wild game dinners. A lot of churches put those together. Sportsman's Banquet. Sometimes they call them a beast feast, and just going and talking about the experience on Top Shot and how God used me for it, and it's still booking stuff like that out to next January and March from next year.
Oh, that's awesome. So you obviously travel outside of your. I mean, you go different state, like across the country, or is this a different cities in your state, or?
Internationally, because I've been to Canada once. But
World traveler, huh?
Lots of free states. Only been to California once, and that was in the north part, and everything else was in the free eastern part of it. It went all over for a while. It finally slowed down. Last year I was even traveling probably every other week to events, but that's why I've been able to invest more in the marksman camps lately, because that end finally slowed down. I'm not complaining. I like staying at home with the family.
Now, I've kind of been curious. Do you feel like, with your position as, being a man of faith and in your position in the church and different things like that, do you think people are more receptive to being introduced to firearms from you versus, I don't know how I'm saying this correctly.
Like
Like
rather than a military guy or
right, yeah. Like to me, it would seem like they would maybe be more receptive to a nice, well-mannered Christian guy trying to get him into guns than a hardcore military guy. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
That makes sense. I never thought of it that way, but that totally makes sense. And because I enjoy working with beginners and stuff, and so I can see how a hardcore military guy would be kind of intimidating, and I'm just there to have fun with them, and so that's all cool.
You just can't be nice guys, Stone Guy.
Well, no, I mean, kind of, you know what I mean. The difference is kind of like gun websites alluded to earlier, the fact that the people that are on the fence about guns, they think guns are bad, guns are only for killing people. I think hearing it from a perspective of a true Christian would shed different light, because obviously the morals and the conviction that the morals and the conviction that a Christian person would have would definitely be, polar opposite of what people perceive a firearm to be used for.
That community usually attributes the anti-gun sentiment more to the left, and the left is far less Christian than the right, so it seems like it would be the opposite logically.
I don't know. I don't think. Yeah.
I think Top Shot, I mean, more so the marksmanship and the fun that goes along with it. You lose some people on the hunting aspect because they can't bear to kill anything or anything like that. But watching people, competitively shoot and do it, I think that appeals to some people that hunting or other traditional firearm activities don't really appeal to.
I blame Disney for that, by the way.
Bambi.
Well,
Every animal they've ever made has been some huggable, lovable thing, and a bear will eat your face, given the opportunity. And if you don't have a gun to defend yourself and you're out in the middle of the woods and you come across a bear, it ain't going to be a fun thing.
And a deer will destroy your garden and your car.
I had a bear on my porch 2 days ago in the morning.
God, that was not a good throw.
No, I definitely think that the sporting aspect of shooting has probably been the most positive, as a whole. But
Yeah, I agree. I don't think sporting is ever going to win the anti-gun argument. I think defense and reality of preservation of freedom is going to win the argument for guns, not sports, because the vast majority of people are never going to become shooters. I think it's more important that we make them understand the importance of firearms in our history and our independence, and in the position, the role they'll play in the future of our independence, more so than sporting.
Well, see, I would agree with you because I understand that, but I think honestly, for people that are truly that they think guns are evil, they think guns are only for killing people, and they're never going to agree that the firearm should be used to protect themselves or their family. They think that's what law enforcement's for. A sporting aspect would maybe...
Nah, I don't think you're ever going to get enough people that are into shooting sports to make a difference in the argument.
I hope that's not the case. I feel like shooting sports are, especially with female shooters being introduced into shooting sports, I think that's, I don't know, I think as a whole, hopefully it's going to start turning the tides of...
If some company would take the reins and create a American Gladiator meets Napoleon Noir competition type of thing, and you could get that on TV, and you could get the support of, again, get the reality show aspect in there, so you're talking with real people that you get to learn to know, and it's not just some dude that's on one week and he's gone the next. I think you might be able to do a little bit more than you think, Yankee. I think that the shooting sports, again, attractive women, smart, intelligent people, average everyday people who also shoot.
Nope, I don't see it at all. Don't see a substantial portion of our population ever becoming sporting shooters. Not even, you got to look at things like basketball.
They don't need to be.
There's not even a substantial portion of our population that play basketball, and it's one of our national sports. So, thinking that people are going to come.
So there's your argument right there. Try to outlaw basketball, and everybody doesn't have to play; they just appreciate it.
A lot of people wouldn't give a shit about basketball, period. But the reason they would disagree, most people, would be because they don't agree with that type of rules, because they agree that people have the right to play basketball. So we have to make people convinced that you have the right to own a firearm and you have a reason to own a firearm. If they don't understand that, then they won't care if you got rid of shooting sports, because they're not going to be shooters. Most people are not going to be shooters.
We're talking about ways to transition people in, so it's not like there's a yes or no or a black or a right or a wrong.
Yeah, but there's, like I'm saying, I don't think we need to put too many eggs in one basket.
Well, what was the question you had, G?
Dustin, I was going to ask you, as far as Top Shot goes, I never really, if there is such a thing like DVD extras or something, I've never seen anything from the producers. So my question is, when they made the show in the first place, do you know if it was targeted towards shooters, or was it designed to be a type of introduction of shooting like that, exposition shooting, to non-shooters?
They want it to be for the biggest, target audience as possible, so they get the most viewers, from everywhere. If they were marketing something for shooters, it was season 4, I think. They tried Top Guns as a bonus episodes for Top Shot. And I couldn't sit through one episode where they try to go deeper in the guns, so for the gun crowd and the actual shooters to enjoy it, but they didn't go deep enough for me. So it's like, okay, this is boring. I know everything that they're talking about. And so I think that was the spinoff for the, more in-depth gun crowd. It just wasn't good enough. They're just wanting everyone. I know a huge part of their audience are kids, which was always what I heard from viewers locally, is like, they put it out so late, the kids can't watch it, and they have to wait to DVR it the next day. But when you DVR stuff, that doesn't count for ratings. And so, they want a bigger audience. They need to have a better time slot, because I know in California it's 11 p.m. and so they lost half their audience.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yep, and so if they'd get, someone better, that's I think there's probably a political agenda there to get bumped late at night because it's politically incorrect or something. You put it at 7 p.m., we'll have Top Shot for a long time.
Well, that would have been my next question or follow-up to that. Do you know if or do you think of it as like the first step in a progression of these kind of shows, or was it a splash in the pan or drop in the water?
I think it was a pretty good success. So like someone else was saying earlier, someone needs to pick up the ball of, a fun shooting type competition like this and run with it. It just takes a lot of creativity. And I tell you, I heard from Colby that Top Shot is the most expensive show that history produced, because it's all live, and it's not all live, but they have to catch it live. It's all real. It's not like those other cheesy gun shop shows where they just have one camera crew and they keep this soft scripted and they keep telling them what to say. If they missed anything we did, they missed it. And so that's why it's probably a huge budget.
Oh, as far as the actual, like the cameras and the shot, like you actually had to catch that shot when you made that shot, not.
That's right, because there was over 12 camera crews on deck when we shot the competitions, and that's a big production.
Now then, that sounds like a lot of human beings. Could you tell, were they pro-gun, or were they indifferent, or didn't even get won over to liking guns because they were on that job?
A lot of them were wanting to shoot, and so they just, by watching it, they're like, yeah, that looked fun. I wish I could do that. Because you're talking in any given day, we'd have up to 300 people behind the cameras.
Wow,
that's a lot.
That is a lot. Now, all right, this is something I asked. Oh God, his name just went out of my head. The sniper, the Marine Scout sniper that was on there.
Palmer.
Pete Palmer, yeah. Peter Palmer. When we had him on the show, I asked him what his opinion, and I'll preface this question by, it's completely opinion, and you can decline to answer if you wish, but what do you think about the guy that supposedly pulled the shot to let that other guy win? I can't remember their names, but I'm sure you're familiar with what I'm talking about.
Season 2, George Ryanis and Chris Reed.
Yeah.
Now I heard that George just really stunk on the Sharps rifle. And so that could have totally been just not knowing your equipment, and that'll mess you up on those. We know we did give him a point with the revolver and stuff. I think it was a revolver, but at the same time, you really get to know those guys well. And Chris had a big story, just life story of the struggles and stuff he had been through. And I mean, any of the Top Shot guys, it's we have a little brotherhood going because you're there for 6 weeks with a common interest. I mean, George could have just. It's kind of like, what, I don't need this. And Chris, it's all you, buddy. It could have been that way because you've got great guys like that in the gun community, and he could have done it, but at the same time, I've heard he wasn't that great with the Sharp, so we don't know.
Yeah, I think it would. I think either way. I mean, obviously, that's just something to talk about, water cooler talk, if you will. But I think if he truly did that, it was a heck of a move, especially from that guy, because if I remember correctly, he kind of came across as a pompous, like, jarhead military guy at first. Like, the guy that pulled that shot he didn't have the best ratings with viewers.
Yeah.
So I think for him, of all people, to pull the shot and,
honorable is a good word that
there
comes
you
to
go,
mind.
there you go, an honorable thing to do for sure. So I just thought that was pretty cool. In your season, was there any,
We had the opposite of this. The opposite of honorable with one of my contestants.
Yeah,
and he said it himself. I mean, it's on clips, probably on Behind the Bullet. It's like, yeah, the guys keep talking about honor and character, and I just laugh at them. Yeah.
So do you feel like yourself personally, from someone that was more or less self-taught, and forgive me, I did not research you. I don't know if you had. I know you said yourself that you were kind of self-taught, but you didn't have any military or law enforcement background.
No, not at all.
Okay.
That Top Shot was the first competition I'd even seen.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just didn't want to misspeak here, but so do you think that those guys underestimated you because of the fact that you didn't have any prior, official training or you know what I mean, like professional training or?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, our first team defeat, that all came to light, and everybody's like, Dustin hasn't missed a shot yet, but we don't think he belongs here. And that's one of my favorite clips. Is it was me and Mike Hughes, who was the finalist I was against at the very end. And episode 2, he's like, I just don't think Dustin has the what it takes to hang in here. And that's funny because that's the guy I beat at the end. But honestly, I underestimated myself as well.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Real quick, so Sully, are you watching the YouTube side?
I am indeed.
Okay, sorry guys. Yeah, for everybody that's on the YouTube side, not on Gun Channel side, please feel free to ask questions. We got someone watching the YouTube side, so we'll try to stay on top of that as well. Typically, we just see them through Gun Channels because the YouTube's messed up. But anyway, so ask away.
Off topic or not, Dustin, the whole thing with, you said when people DVR the show to watch, it doesn't count for the ratings. Is that more attributed to advertising is being skipped when you're replaying? Is that
exactly
the logic?
Yeah. Because I mean, if you're not watching live, you're not watching ads, and if you're not watching ads, nobody's paying for the show.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
And they can. I mean, I learned all this stuff while I was there, and so it was cool to see the behind the scenes of it. And they could actually watch ratings per minute. So when one of the unnamed contestants would just go start running his mouth and ticking everybody off, they could see folks are changing the channel.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, like I said earlier, the production value. I mean, like you said, I mean, knowing what it takes to run high quality video, I can't imagine that craziness.
Now, when you were on the show, what what, if any, or how many firearms or weapon systems were completely new to you? Like, when you got to, like, they put something in front of you and
Yeah.
you're like, holy cow, this is the first time I've ever even seen this, much less
Um,
shot it.
Not too much, because I mean, it has sights, has a trigger, it's a gun, and a
Okay.
lot of stuff was, AR platform or whatnot, or I tell you the Remington 1875 or 1873, I'd never messed with one of those before, and so having to do the whole half click, count the rounds when you're going in to make sure you're not jumping a cylinder and stuff, that was rough. And the Benelli, that was new to me because I wasn't used to a semi-auto shotgun with the extra buttons and the loading gate and the charging and all that. The Canon, hadn't done one of them before. Rocks, not much experience because that's boring. Yeah.
What was the favorite thing you shot? Or maybe somebody asked that.
The first episode we got to shoot the LaRue OBR, and I remember picking up that gun, and I had never messed with any ARs beside mil-spec, and I dry fire that Geisley trigger right off. I'm like, oh, that's nice, that's nice. And then the Volquartsen, I fluted. I knew Volquartsen made parts. I'm cheap, so I'd have a sear or a spring in one of my 1022s or two, but I didn't know they made whole rifles, and so that was cool too.
Gotcha.
Oh, the Volquartsen 20. Yeah, was that? And forgive me, but was that the one where y'all were shooting the Q-tips or the gumballs or something? Yeah.
Yeah, it was Q-tips and through the center of the CD, and that's the one I did the whole golf ball shot
Yeah,
with.
that's right. Yep. Yeah, that's a sweet gun though, man. Like, that was the other thing I was going to ask. The firearms that y'all used, were they, like, were any of the competitors, I guess a better way to ask this, were all the guns as identical as they could be? Or did people feel like maybe someone got a better gun than they did? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, that's all just part of being a marksman, is they're not all going to be identical. I remember our AK challenge. We didn't have AK sight adjustment tools, and we're shooting at 100 yards, and I had the holds written on my arm. Okay, if it was blue rifle number 1, I had to aim 6 inches left. If it was blue rifle number 2, I need to hold 6 inches low. And so if people were complaining about that, they just weren't a marksman. Your sights are a point of reference. It's not laser guided. And so, I mean, my holds for the golf ball shot, because that rifle was zeroed and it was off at like 25 feet because we were shooting Q-tips with it one day, and then I used it to shoot that golf ball. It was very weird. I actually held below it and to the right. It was below 0.9 mils, to the right 0.9 mils, and cutting a little for the wind that day. And the other guys, they missed the whole stinking 1 foot backer.
Nice.
So, we all had a chance to play with them beforehand. That's the whole practice part and everything. And you just learn your equipment and you roll with it. And, some did, some didn't.
Oh, no, that was another. I'm glad you mentioned that. The practice session that we got to see as an audience from the show, where it seemed to me, or at least the way the show did it, it seemed like you guys, were only out there for 10 minutes practicing. Did you have more practice time than that prior to the event?
Yeah, in reality, it was anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, which is not long at all. And they're getting their footage. We're getting, I mean, sometimes as little as 5 rounds to 20 rounds apiece, depending on what gun it was. And that's it. And so it's not practice. It's just, hey, familiarize yourself with this gun, and good luck tomorrow.
Oh, so you guys truly weren't shooting hundreds of rounds.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow. Yeah. See, I was thinking that behind the scenes, you guys were actually being able to shoot hundreds of rounds to really get acclimated to that platform.
No, we wish. I mean, what you saw was about what we got. Of course, you can't fill up a 30-minute show with 30 minutes of practice, but it was really from 30 minutes to an hour is what practice would be. They tell us beforehand, tell us the round count, and say, when the timer is up, you're back to the house for the rest of the day.
that adds a whole level of respect for me. That's not much practice.
No, not at all. An awkward silence. And it was different per guns, depending on what it was. For like the LaRue OBRs, we had 5. The other team had 5. So we could fiddle around with the sights, but they were all just driving tacks that day, and we knew which guns were on which ledge. So you make sure you shoot the same one, or that's how I think we divided ourselves up for teams. We're like, which guns are at which platform, and they're like, okay, that was the one I shot, so I went there. Sometimes with an individual challenge, like we had the Infinity Sight Trackers, we had 8 different pistols, each with and we had it assigned to us. Hey, Dustin, you're number 7 on the serial number, and so that would be me. And then sometimes you're using the exact same gun as everybody else, so nobody touches the sights. You just deal with it. It's different for whatever we're shooting.
Now,
Did you get to keep that OBR, or did they give you a different one?
We didn't get to keep nothing from the show. The show could care less about us, but...
Okay. But I thought maybe LaRue got it back or something and gave you gear.
There you go. That's it. LaRue got it back, and I started begging as soon as I was like, hey, as soon as Top Shot started airing and stuff, I'm like, I was on Top Shot. I shot the OBR. I really liked it. Hint, hint, hint.
Well,
and by the end, they're like,
next year at Shot, you're up there with Costa on your own poster.
Yeah, how about that? I never put that together, but yeah. I just, there's some guns I just came back and I'm like, those are sweet. I'd like to have one. Get a Top Shot discount.
Has anybody ever asked you if you could go back and do one of the other shows, like one of the other seasons? Is there anything that you saw that you wish they would, like, was there one of the stages or whatever that you wish they would have had in your season?
We had some pretty cool stuff my season, and it's hard to wish that, not knowing exactly what may happen. Like the crane, where they dropped you from the crane at season 2. That looks sweet, but I may have bombed that completely when the whole just drop thing starts happening. So it's like I'll just stick to my Wheel of Death that I got 12 in a row on, and just stick with that.
Oh yeah, that's when they strapped you on the wheel and you shot upside down.
Yeah, upside down, sideways, whatever. It was. How do you practice for that? Yeah, you can't.
Right? That was crazy. So the I guess it was it the producers that were coming up? I mean, who did you ever find out who was actually coming up with the different scenarios and all that?
Yeah, it was. There's a challenge team. Just like there's a craft department and a safety department, there's a challenge department, and they come up with all this stuff, get it built. They're on deck there telling this is how it goes, this is the rules, and this is how it works. And for the most part, as crazy as stuff was, it worked pretty good.
I've got a question coming in from Marco, who's texted me, so I can't copy it in here, but I'll try to relate it through my phone here. He's asking that it sounds like a large portion of the firearms used on the show were not California compliant. And did anybody point that out on air at all, or did it get out there at all?
Well, I mean, it's obvious, but that's where the hypocritical part of government comes in. As long as you are a film crew and you make money, it's all good. They'll give you the permits, because you have to have a permit just to have a freaking blowgun. And I was telling the producers and stuff, I was like, why don't y'all film this in a free state like Texas, where this isn't a problem to have an 11-round magazine. And but if you're in the film industry, they just foot the bill for the permits to the armorers, and the armorers, they take care of all the legal.
Police were able to bring it up here, so that's cool. Appreciate you addressing it.
Yeah, that's cool. I hate California, New York, Chicago, all those places, and so it's hard enough going there. But then it's like, wait, this isn't legal here. Nothing's legal here.
Did you have a lot of people approach you after the season to be that spokesperson or that role model that the
Um,
voice for their company or the, you know what I mean?
I did a little with like Savage Arms. We did a lot of range days together. I went to their factory and built my own rifle, and so that was all good and fun. Uh, the weirdest one, right after Top Shot, a lady emailed me that was having this horse ranch in Colorado, and she wanted me to come teach firearms for $100,000 a year. And I was like, well, that sounds neat. I'll look into it. And I looked into their little horse farm, and it was all like this wild stuff. Okay, it started kind of simple, and nothing wrong with homeopathic cures and stuff for horses and mess. But then we got into the study of horses on this planet and the history on others. Like, well, that's kind of strange. And then the whole the study of unicorns as a breed and the commitment to reintroducing them as a species. I was like, okay, just put this one in the nut job pile.
You're like, yeah, don't want my face on the unicorn poster, huh?
Yeah, that was wild. I want to find that email again, but I couldn't find it.
So, got a question from Glock Guru. He asked, what distance do you zero your rifle at? I assume he means like your probably your AR, like your LaRue.
Like primary AR and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I live in East Texas, and so I can't shoot far without hitting a tree. My maximum range, unless I'm on top of the zip line platform shooting over the horse thing, I can get 140 yards when I'm on top of the zip line platform to my berm. And so usually I'm at 100 just for industry zero. Some of my ARs I'll have at 75. Because that's kind of where the shade tree's at, and that's real practical. My truck one, I just ended up doing it at 50 the other day, though, just because it was convenient, and I was shooting with the sheriff's department beforehand, and they're at 50 yards. A lot of times with my pistols, I'm shooting 25 yards minimum and 50 yards for kicks. Anything else closer just felt too close. I just got comfortable moving myself further back to where I finally ranged myself when I was shooting pistols at my still practicing for top shot, and my comfortable shooting distance where I'd park my Jeep was 35 yards. I was like, oh, that's kind of far for.
Yeah, I mean that's a far shot for a pistol, man. I mean that's no joke.
Oh yeah, I mean I play on my 8-inch plates at 50, and these are my competition. My G34 and stuff. It's not my CHL piece, but I mean I'll back it up to 75 and 100 for kicks with 100. So I'm an 8-inch steel. It's fun.
Now, what's your favorite distance to shoot a rifle at?
Well, I wish I could, zoom out further, and so, like I said, the trees and stuff makes it a hassle to shoot too far. So a lot of times, I'll just, if I'm shooting, I'm usually shooting like my 8-inch steel plates, and I'm at about 115 yards because that's the distance where I don't have to go inside the horse field to shoot. So I'm on the other side of the gate, and I'll just plank freestanding, just fast 3-gun style.
You were talking about strange stuff. What is, as far as opening up doors, opportunities from Top Shot, what do you think your coolest experience was, post Top Shot, getting to do?
It's neat to have an inside door with the gun manufacturers and stuff. Getting to, Top Shot, not Top Shot, SHOT Show in Vegas. I've been there. This will be 3rd or 4th time now. That was cool because I remember watching I write for Texas Fishing Game magazine now, and so that was an opportunity that came up because of the Top Shot and everything. They started me off on a blog, and they're like, man, you're just writing articles, so here's your column. And I'm in the print edition and everything now. But being able to go to SHOT Show and it evolved from, hey, I get to go and I'm like a kid in a candy store and I'm just gonna see what I can get for free from stuff, to just knowing everybody in the industry and having the reps and stuff that I get loaner guns for writer articles and just being able to see them all the time, and just the relationships that's just come from from having a foot in the door. That's been a lot of fun, and getting to see the behind the scenes of the factory floors, and but for the most part, I really just enjoy like the marksman camp here. That's what I dig. Is I don't have to travel and a lot of what you call fulfillment there.
Well, let me ask you this: have you had an opportunity to shoot with any what would be considered big names of the gun industry, like a Jerry Michalik or
Oh, sure.
Chris I mean, you have those shot with those guys or have them out at your camp?
Rob Latham and some of
Okay.
those. What was it? I shot a few matches, squatted up with Jerry, and I beat him a couple stages, so that's cool. Rob Latham, we plank around every time at SHOT Show. Who else did you say? Chris Costa, we were shooting together at the LaRue Range Day. Yeah, so it's just, these guys are everyday guys, and that's what's cool about the gun industry. They're just down to earth folks that you just walk up and, cool guys.
Dustin, you can only have one pistol the rest of your life. What is
That's
it?
not fair. No, it's not fair. Crud. Am I shooting, defending? What am I doing with it?
All
Okay,
around.
well, my favorite has become my M&P by AETI. Not the stock M&P. That I got that and I'm like, this sucks. It was a California edition because I was cheap and ordered through the NRA instructor program and all that. 10-round mags are trash. But anyway, AETI fixed it up with a Trijicon RMR. Put a threaded barrel in it. Little stipple job, sweet trigger. I like it. That's my go-to defensive / if I needed competition. It's all good. And then, but if we're talking forever and always, I need to see if that blog needs to get reposted on the new edition of Fish Game where I write. But made me a tactical suppressed platform pistol. It took a Ruger 2245. Threw away the upper, got the Tactical Solutions 2245 fluted, threaded, aluminum 4.5 inch. Yeah, Gemtech suppressor, Vorkortzen trigger, Burris fast fire sight. That's just a slick gun. I mean, I'm outside shooting grasshoppers with it. It's cool.
Oh man! Now, what's your everyday carry? What it mean your concealed carry?
Walther PPS and 40, crossbreed holster, no finish. It's been loved. It's in 40. If I could do it again, I'd switch everything back to 9mm. But this was the single stack, slick, slender, good trigger. The Springfield XDS kicked these out a bit. Walther could have rocked it, but they were, being made under Smith & Wesson, and Smith & Wesson didn't want to market Walther at all. But it's got a better trigger than the XDS. It's really about the same build and frame, though. I've just always liked the Walther P99s and stuff. They had great factory stock trigger, but the PPS is slim enough to not give you a backache.
Now, got a bunch of questions coming in. This is one from some guy in Sandy. Who do you think? Who did you learn the most from coming up in the shooting sports?
You're looking at them. Or you mean after Top Shot?
I'm assuming, yeah, probably like with, like you said, Rob Latham. Like, I've never had the pleasure of shooting with Rob Latham, but I've watched a lot of his videos. He's just an awesome shooter. I mean,
yeah. As for getting into competition shooters, Taryn Butler really encouraged me to get in. He'd call me up and was like, "You got to get into 3-gun. You got to get into 3-gun. Here's how you win. You give me a few hours with you, and we'll make you a champion." Kurt Gruber, just a big 3-gun guy, and he was the one that just got on and encouraged me to sign up to my first 3-gun match, even though I was terrified because coming with this whole title at Top Shot and to my first 3-gun match was a little intimidating.
Nice. Someone else wants to know, Colby, how was Colby as far as personality?
Yeah.
Because he was on Survivor, right? Isn't that where
yeah, I think it was season 2 or something. I never watched Survivor. Heck, I don't even have cable TV. But for the most part, he was just on set when we were on set. He didn't come and hang out in the house with us and stuff, so we didn't really get to know him that well. You know, I bump into him at a SHOT Show and stuff like that, and he's a cool guy. His teeth really are that white. He really does stand up that straight, and he really puts his hand on his hips all the time.
Nice. Let's see here.
Oh gosh, I see the Jake question. Yeah, okay, here. The frequently asked question is Jake really that, or was Jake really that big a jerk? And the answer is no. No, he was a lot worse. They couldn't show half the stuff he said or did. But that was his plan. He wanted everybody to be talking about him and giving him exposure, and it worked.
Yeah, well, they say even bad publicity is still publicity, right?
That's what he lived by.
There's always got to be the bad guy. That's what makes the show.
Oh, sure. And the truth of the matter is, Top Shot knows how to pick them. You know, it's a competition, but it's also a reality show, and a lot of effort and money probably goes into profiling and, you know, psych evals and whatnot. And they know who they want and they know how to pick them. They
didn't script you guys at all.
They didn't what?
I said they didn't script you guys at all, did they?
No,
they didn't give you any
that's
kind
what I'm saying.
Okay.
They just know how to pick them, so there's no scripting needed. It's like they're gonna pick the piranhas and the goldfish and put them together in a bowl, and it happens on its own.
And it's legit at the beginning, that first like qualifier or whatever, where they don't have any idea who's really going to be there for the time. They just know who might be there, right? A bunch of people get.
I'm not.
In the beginning,
they said 20,000 people applied for Top Shot Season 3. And so they go through all that, and they pick who, you know, they go through the YouTube interviews and all that jazz, and then they go to, they work their way down the final list and have them out, and then pick them from there.
Right. I guess I was saying that, you know, they don't know the final, like, who's going to be eliminated, so it's not like they could have scripted it, in other words. So, I mean, it has to be real because it evolved.
And that's something I like to explain too, is being that this is done in California, all legit production and stuff, there's a third-party group of lawyers there dictated by California law because there's a money prize. It's technically a game show. And so there's this lady and her assistant with a little stopwatch and clipboard watching everything, double-checking the targets, double-checking the guns, so the competition to make sure it's all legit.
Oh, cool. I didn't realize they looked at it as a game show because of the monetary compensation, or monetary prize, I should say.
Yep, that's it.
Now, over the years, when we've watched the show and talked about it in these chats and stuff, you know, people have obviously all kinds of ideas or ways that they would do it. Do you think that it could work without the drama side? Could it be just a shooting competition show where they put people and challenge their marksmanship in different ways and make it a little bit quicker and do less of the drama stuff? Or do you think that's necessary to be a TV show?
I would hope so, because, I mean, guys like me hate the drama. I wanted Top Shot 3 to be drama-free, but we had others that wanted it to be the biggest drama season at all, and so that just creates drama on its own.
Oh, I understand. So in other words, they were shining up for the show, but because they wanted to launch their career as being a celebrity or whatever, and so they're there to not just shoot.
That's just their personality, too.
I gotcha.
Yeah, it seems like your season, Dustin, was the most kind of
dramatic.
Yeah, there you go. Colorful or dramatic. Yeah, most drama-filled.
You got to accept the drama, or else it's not going to be on television because nobody will watch it.
And we tried bringing that up a lot too, and saying, look, guys, we hate this drama crap. But they like, I remember Colby and some of the producers were like, well, the ladies love it. That's why the ladies watch it, is because it keeps it's whatever.
Now, how many female shooters did you have on your season?
We had 2, and they were the first 2 to leave. No comment. I love you, Sarah. I'm sorry I sent you home on your birthday.
Oh, burn, huh? That's horrible.
She's a great sport though. Yeah. That's just how it goes. It sucks.
Now your marksman program that you run, what's the official name? Is it just called the Mark?
We never came up with anything fancy. We just call it the Marksmanship Camp.
All right, cool. So is there an age limit? Or an
Yeah,
age?
we do two different sets just because skill level split right around teenagehood, and so we do a younger ones for kids 9 through 13, and then like this weekend we're gonna have one for the older kids. We get a little more done and get a little more in depth with a few different firearms, and that would be for kids ages 14 to 18. And that's a lot of fun though because they bring a lot of skill. I've run a handful of adult camps just with our same program, souped up. But I'll be honest, the skill shines on the teens, and it's a lot of fun watching them perform.
Nice. So what do you think your percentage of female shooters? I mean, is it predominantly male that come there, or are you seeing more women get involved?
Yeah, I mean, for young girls, we'll get from 1 to 3 per group of 12. And so, it's a minority, but it's obvious they're intimidated sometimes to come in, but I love it because they do really well. This last weekend we had a 10-year-old girl, just a little thing, but we did a still challenge, Savage Rascal, 3 silhouette animals downrange. You got to knock all 3 down on a timer, loading a single shot, and she did it like 21 seconds. Okay, that's good, 100% accuracy. But then we had the new challenge, Bullseye Target by Challenge Targets. It's if you saw 22 Plankster's channel, he was promoting it. It's got a 1-inch hole, and you got to hit a flipper on it. And we had that like at 15 yards, and we made it. If you could knock if you could bullseye it and knock it through that 1-inch hole, we'll shave 5 seconds on your score. You had 3 shots to do it. First shot nails it, flips it, she resets it and hits it with the last shot too. Everybody just went wild. And then later, we're doing one-on-one competitions, and a boy was getting brought up against her. She was like, "No, I don't want to go up against her." So it was just a lot of fun because it was fun watching the girls spank the guys on that stuff.
That's awesome. I think that, I've said this before, but I just think that the more female shooters we can get involved, I think the better it's going to be for our sport, our community as a whole. I think women are the future of shooting.
I think it's the fastest growing demographic too, so it's on a good track.
Yeah. No.
Well, we hear a lot about the kids that are playing the video games, and that I've got to assume the kids that are going to the camp have experienced video games. And if so, do you get any kind of feedback? I mean, do they go, "Oh, this is so much better," or "This is so much the same," or what kind of feedback do they give you?
There was one comment this summer that I was like, "Did I really just hear that?" I was talking about experience on archery. Because I size the kids up for the proper bows, and because it's a different muscle that's used to draw a bow. The biggest guy, if he's never shot archery before, he can't pull back my bow. Okay, that's just a muscle you don't use much. And a kid commented like, "Have you shot archery much?" I was like, "I play on the Wii all the time," and he was like dead serious. I'm like, "Okay, no, doesn't count." But yeah, I mean, out at the camp, they don't even have phones and stuff. We don't have service anyway, and so it's all just outdoorsy camp stuff. We leave that technological stuff out.
Now, someone asked in the chat, the camp itself, is it a free camp? Is it donation?
That'd be cool.
I mean,
yeah. No, the marksman weekends run about $300, but that includes all your ammo, equipment. We bought the guns, we got the ammo, the paintballs, the 22 precious 22 rounds, all that good stuff. All that's provided, and then it's a little less for summer camp because we're running a lot more kids through it. It's $135 for the week for Monday through Friday, but that's not the marksman camp. It's a whole different program. But when my parents founded the place, my mom was a children's pastor. Just knowing, just struggling to find a good camp in this area for kids to go to, and God was kind of like, well, build one yourself, and so that's how we ended up here. And we get calls all the time wondering if that price is per day, but no, it's like the summer price is $135 for the whole week, and that's just made possible because we have an awesome group of volunteers, mostly teenage age, some into college, that come out and just give their summers because they love God, they love the kids, and just rolling with it that way. But at that price, compared to some other camps where it's $1,200 a week, it's pretty close to free.
Yeah, that's, 135. I mean, that's what I pay for typical daycare. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. We have parents that want to drop their kids off because we are a cheap daycare.
Yeah, and then but you said your marksman is 300 for the week or 300 for
Marksman's
the weekend?
300 the weekend because we only can hold 12 campers at a time,
Okay.
and then several $1,000s worth of equipment that we use too.
Yeah, so that's like a Friday through Sunday kind of deal, or?
We actually do it Saturday through Sunday, and we pack it in. We are on our feet for almost 24 hours, going from one thing to the next. There's no downtime. We hit it hard and strong, and we get through the whole program. And once kids get in their car after lunch, they're wiped out. We needed that time because kids travel. This weekend, out of 12 campers, 6 are from out of state. And so they'd have to drop out of school early and stuff to make it here. So we try to give them extra travel time.
Are any of the campers? Do y'all have facilities where they stay there overnight?
Yep. Yeah, we got all our dorms and stuff.
So off topic, I know one of the things about going to church camp or something this summer was always finding out who was going to be that one person that got in trouble that did something crazy.
We run our camp a little different, where there's no free time, and they're so tired, there's no problems.
That's good to hear.
That's all. Now, do you ever, you guys ever have any special quote-unquote celebrity shooters like Taryn Butler show up at camp or anything like that ever?
We've had Jack Dagger come out once. He's the guy from Top Shot. He does what would you call it? Just like stage throwing and everything. And so he helped get our throwing program lined up and hone all my skills so I could teach the kids. I've had several want to come out. It's just a matter of logistics and practicality, because a lot of competition shooters that love kids, like Scott Volkortson, he donated the Volkortson rifles that we use, and so kids get to use those. But like one of his sponsored shooters, Allie Barrett, she's hinting about wanting to come out and help. 22 Plinkster wants to come. Some of my 3-gun buddies, gun guys are good guys, and they're just trying to do it.
Nice. Yeah, it seems.
Do you think the kids realize they're shooting Volkortsons?
Oh yeah, and their parents do too. And a lot of parents are like, "Great, you just cost me $1,500 because all the kids want the Volkortson rifles."
Exactly.
But at the same time, the parents are like, "Thanks, I'm getting one of these."
It's hard to go from a Volkortson back to a Marlin 66 or something,
Yeah.
That's too.
Well, that's cool that they can appreciate it too. That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's a lot of my research went into getting some of the best guns and gear and making them run as good as we could. I think I had like 2 malfunctions out of all of our guns this last weekend, and so that ain't bad with just bulk 22 ammo.
I can shoot just as shitty with a $1,500 gun as I can with a $300 gun.
What we do with our 1,500 ones, we let with the Volkortsons, we let them shoot golf balls at the end at 50 yards, more practical range. And I have not had a kid that didn't go home without a golf ball that they hit. So it's always fun seeing. Sometimes I get scared. We start out with the bolt guns, and some of these guys, it's their first time shooting, and I look at that paper, I'm like, oh man. But by the end, they're all rocking everything. It's fulfilling. It's neat.
I had someone ask what your favorite challenge from your season was.
My favorite was the 50 cal because I got to shoot a 50 cal, and because I got first in it. You know, like I said before, I don't get to practice long range much because all the trees in the forest make it difficult. And so we're shooting 500 yards, nominal range for a 50. Moving target, it's all good. But the 50-mile-an-hour wind that came up that day, that made it hard. And some of the guys took 17 rounds and 5 minutes to hit it. And I dropped down from standing to prone and popped the target in less than 8 seconds. So I was like, that was my favorite.
Now, I mean, I have a question there. When they do the editing or whatever, when it's actually live, did they alter the order in which you shoot in order to make it more dramatic?
It was all drawn. They just drew names out of a ammo can and just totally at random. Flip a coin. There are other times for team challenges. All legit and fair.
And then there was a question, I don't know if it slipped by before, but I've always had that question too. Like you were mentioning that in California, since a lot of these guns you can't just own them in California. They have to be, they're owned by corporations that have, I guess, some sort of waivers or something. But anyway, those armorers that supply the TV crews, were they cool, or were they like just, were these just items for them, or were they passionate about their firearms? Because I gotta imagine they've done some cool stuff in movies.
Yeah, they're gun guys, and they're not going to be the guys that put the optic on backwards for a TV show, and so they were cool. I mean, we keep up on Facebook together and stuff too. So meet up at SHOT Show and just hey, you were the spotter for one of the episodes or and stuff like that.
Well, that's good to hear. I'd hate to think that they were all just these guns and they're holding them with their with gloves so they didn't have to touch them kind of thing.
Oh no, they're gun guys.
Well, we've been monitoring the questions, and it looks like they're winding down a little bit, Stone.
Yeah, I was just about to say I think that's a good point to end it. I know. Sorry, I was just reading here. So Dustin, man, oh, go ahead.
I just want to say, I don't know if you consider yourself an ambassador to shooting, but I certainly think you are one. And like I say, I've met you a couple of times just walking by, and you've been super gracious and nice to me. So I want to thank you for being that kind of representative for all of us.
Well, thanks. It's just an honor to, be in the community. I sure enjoy it. Great crew.
Yeah, I think with what you're doing for the kids, by and far is, obviously for you, you've got your own, personal reasons for doing what you do. Like you kind of alluded to, it's a pretty fulfilling thing, and obviously you have, if you will, say, divine intervention, if you will, a calling to do that. But I think from just an outsider looking in, I think what you do for the kids is going to impact the shooting community as a whole in the future. Because if you can't start the kids on it to continue the legacy, if you will, it starts with the kids. So for someone like you that gives them an opportunity and introduces firearms to kids in a safe, controlled atmosphere, I think that's
that's what the camp's about, just changing lives for the upcoming generation.
Yeah, so that's awesome, man. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you taking time out and chatting with us. I appreciate everybody that joined in on the panel and everybody that tuned in watching. But I think this will be a good time to end it. So I just want to say thanks to everybody out there, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks. Good.